Great, thank you. So good afternoon. I'm Jade Clark. I'm the Digital Programme Manager within the Cardiovascular Disease Prevention team at Public Health England. I'm also joined by Andrew Lloyd-Harris, who is organising the webinar for us today. And we'll also be hearing from Victoria Riley from Staffordshire University about her evaluation of the heart age test, and she'll also be joined by Christopher Gidlow. So by way of introduction and a bit of context, just kind of thinking about what is heart age. So it's the name for the estimated age of your heart compared to your actual chronological age, and is used as a way to convey an individual's potential risk of cardiovascular disease. So for example, a 50-year-old in good health with no reported lifestyle risk factors and with no family history of CVD may have an estimated heart age of around 50. However, a 50-year-old smoker with high blood pressure will likely have an estimated heart age higher than their real age. So the heart age test itself is an online tool or widget hosted on several websites and was introduced in 2015. And it's a collaboration between Public Health England, the Joint British Society, the British Heart Foundation and NHS Choices. And it's the public-facing version of JBS3's heart age calculator. And so it lets users know how old their heart is in comparison to physical age, as I kind of said. And it also provides them with tips on how they can lower their heart age, as well as ways to reduce their risk of a heart attack and stroke. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to take control and show you a video of the heart age test being completed and generating a heart age for a user. So I'm just going to show you that now. Just give me 2 ticks to get that running. Thank you, Andrew. So let me move to the next slide. Oh. There we go. Great. So this is the for those of you who may be familiar with the heart age test, and a bit of a refresher, and those of you who've maybe not seen it for a while or haven't seen it before, this is what it looks like when you go online to fill it in. So you can see that the user then has to input some information, so date of birth, and then it's still running. Have I paused that? Andrew, is that still running?
No, it isn't, but let's try that again. There we go.
Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. So there's the age, date of birth, sex at birth, ethnic group. Postcode, and do you have cardiovascular disease? You'll see in pink there that there's some kind of hyperlinks which pull down to give the user some more information if they need to understand what's being asked of them. Some information on smoking, and then obviously height and weight to calculate BMI. And then it goes through a series of questions about clinical conditions. So diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, and obviously you can see there's a drop down that you can click on to find out a bit more information. I'm just going to pause it here. Oops, I've just started it again. I'm so sorry. Hold on. Let's see, where did that go? Let me just look forward a little bit more. I wanted to stop it to show you something. I'll just let it roll on because it's probably a little bit easier. Apologies, you're seeing this again. So here we are, we're just coming down to the different clinical questions. So diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis again. And here we are. So I just want to show you that there's the questions on cholesterol and blood pressure. And when these are clicked as a no, so if the user doesn't know whether the user doesn't know their cholesterol or their blood pressure, then a national average will be applied in the calculation. So I'm having a right old bother here, aren't I? Andrew, could you take control again and just scroll back to the end of the video? I'm sorry about that.
That's right. Fun and games with new technology.
Yeah, there we go.
All right. Ready
Yeah,
to get
thank
some
you.
results?
Yeah, let's go for our results. There we go. So it takes a few moments to generate the results. And there we go. Andrew, could you just pause it a minute, please? Thank you. So there we have the generated heart age. Your heart age is about 88 in the kind of bold. And then underneath, you will see that there's a kind of line that says, on average, someone like you can expect to live to the age of 78 without having a heart attack or stroke. So that is the CVD event-free survival age. So that's also given to the user as well. Andrew, do you want to just start again, and then I'll get you if you just come down. So that you can now see that there's two options there of lower cholesterol or lower blood pressure. And that allows the user to say how my heart age changes if I lower my cholesterol, lower my blood pressure. So that then will recalculate it for them to show them what that would look like. Thanks, Andrew. Do you want to start rolling again? Thanks. And again, I think the next bit just shows it with the blood pressure. So clicking on the blood pressure to lower the blood pressure. And then as you go down, scroll down the page, there's then different kind of information and links to further support and advice relating to the kind of individual risk factors as well. So those kind of pink links would then take you to other information about that. And also there it's telling you to get your blood pressure tested if you don't already know it. And again, with cholesterol, it will do the same. Thank you. Do I need to give you back control, Andrew?
I think I have the power.
Okay, that's fine. So that just gives you a bit of a run through. I'm sorry about the kind of little blips we had there, but hopefully gives you a little bit of an idea of how that's filled in and the information that's filled in, and it might kind of help kind of some of the discussion that Vicky's going to go through shortly. So just to kind of do a kind of proper introduction, so PHE commissioned Staffordshire University to conduct an evaluation of the heart age test. And so we're really delighted to be joined by Victoria Riley and Christopher Gidlow from the Centre of Health Development at Staffordshire University. And Vic is going to present an overview of their findings and the recommendations from the evaluation. So we have about an hour today for the session, and so we'll have the presentation first and then followed by the Q&A session at the end. So over to Vicky. Thanks, Vicky.
Thanks, Jade. Next slide, please, Andrew. So an initial assessment of the heart age test data was conducted in 2015, and that reported over 500,000 test completions between February and July. It found that the HAT was accessed by individuals that were not easily reached through conventional primary care processes, including males and younger adults. And it highlighted users' limited awareness of their own risk factors such as cholesterol and blood pressure, as Jade has just shown you that the heart age test requires. Yet the impact of the test was not known kind of up to us doing this evaluation, including information that leads to engages in or an increase in risk reducing behaviour or people's perceptions and understanding of their heart age. So therefore the evaluation of the heart age test was conducted to achieve the following objectives. The first being to understand who is accessing the test and their socio-demographic characteristics and risk profile, to understand the impact of the test on knowledge and understanding of CVD risk and confidence in interpreting CVD risk, to understand the effect of the test on future behaviour intentions, and to understand the impact of the test on potential engagement with primary care services, including a blood pressure test and an NHS health check. A combination of quantitative and qualitative methods were used to understand users' experiences of the heart age test and future behaviour intentions. And we collected data in three ways. The first being HAT user data from Public Health England to profile users and to track trends. We then did an online survey which was distributed through several platforms to explore users' experiences of the test, the impact of the test and future behaviour intentions and demographics. And then we did a follow-up interviews with a subsample of those who completed the online survey to understand users' experience of the heart age test and future behaviour intentions. So to start with the HAT user data, since the launch of the test in February 2015, almost 5 million completions were recorded by the test up to June 2020. Overall, the test was completed by more males aged 50 to 59 from a white British background and living in least deprived areas, which was found to be similar to the previous assessment that was published in 2016. Individuals were typically found to have an estimated heart age 1 to 4 years older than their chronological age, and just over half of users were unable to report their blood pressure readings, and more than 3/4 of users were unable to report a cholesterol reading. When exploring the user data to understand the impact of the national campaign that was done in 2018, over a third of valid calculated heart age cases were calculated in September 2018 alone, with increased completions for both males and females of all age groups and ethnic and deprivation backgrounds. Compared to October 2018 onwards, more males, those aged 30 to 39 and 50 to 59, living in lesser deprived areas, completed the HAT during the month of the campaign, which indicates that the national campaign contributed to increased engagement in these groups. And the volume of completions in these groups also remained higher in October 2018 than 2017 and 2019 comparatively, suggesting that the impact of the campaign lasted beyond the month in which the campaign was held. However, the campaign did not appear to increase completions for those found to be at an increased risk of a heart attack or a stroke when looking at their estimated heart age compared to their chronological age. In terms of the online survey that we distributed, we received 819 survey responses between January and March 2021. Respondents were most commonly white, females aged 56 to 60 and from the least deprived quintile. And although there was representation from all age groups and those from ethnic minority backgrounds and all IMD quintiles, so we did get representation from all groups. Reasons for participating in the online survey included other, which referred to advertisements on social media or on a website related to health. The second being to participate in the evaluation of the test, and then the third because they found the test on the news website. More respondents were unable to provide their cholesterol numbers, so that was just over 3/4, as with the initial assessment. And approximately half did provide a blood pressure reading, again, so similar to the initial assessment and the HAT user data that we looked at. Over a third of respondents reported their estimated heart age to be a little higher than they expected or a lot higher than they expected. And more respondents also reported a negative emotional response to their estimated heart age score, when it did not equate to what they expected, which was largely disagreeing about feeling happy, satisfied and reassured by their result, and instead feeling concerned, surprised and discouraged. The majority of respondents suggested they understood that if their heart age was higher than their actual age, they'd be more likely to have a heart attack or stroke in the future. Understanding of CVD risk improved at least a little more in over 50% of respondents, including their chance of having a heart attack or stroke, factors increasing their risk, factors reducing their risk, and action to reduce risk. The same was found for confidence and understanding and control of risk, including factors increasing risk, changing risk, their control over risk, reducing risk, and skill support to reduce risk. And following completion of HAT, respondents self-reported various intentions to change their behaviour, and most commonly respondents reported they would set a goal to lose weight, followed by a goal to get more active and a goal to eat more healthily. More respondents also suggested they intended to complete one action, followed by 2 and 3 actions. And setting a goal to lose weight was most commonly combined with setting a goal to eat more healthily or to get more active. Less than a fifth of respondents suggested they did not intend to take any action following their HAT result, and reasons for not intending to take action included their perceived inaccuracy of the result, the test said they were healthy for their age, and other, which included barriers related to COVID restrictions, continuing healthy behaviour or changes already implemented before taking the test. The majority of respondents also suggested they would be more likely to take up the offer of an NHS health check following completion of the test, and would definitely or probably use the test again in future to check their health. So moving on to the follow-up interviews, we conducted 73 semi-structured interviews, and they were conducted via telephone between February and March 2021. The majority of participants were females, aged 51 to 60, from a white background, and as with the online survey, there was representation from all age groups and from those from ethnic minority backgrounds and in all IMD quintiles. The time between participants completing the HAT and participating in the follow-up interview ranged from 2 to 13 days, with an average of 8 days after completing the test. Data were analysed using inductive thematic analysis by myself and another experienced researcher, and 4 themes resulted from the analyses, including the emotional response to estimated heart age, understanding CVD risk, perception of the heart age test, and making a change. So if we start off with the emotional response to estimated heart age, completion of the test resulted in both positive and negative emotional responses from participants, which were largely influenced by whether their result was what they expected prior to taking the test. So if you refer specifically to the blue and the purple bubble there, so for example, the purple bubble, I was a little bit surprised because I am really active. I do a lot of exercise, but my BMI, it does show that I am slightly overweight as well, which is frustrating. And for those who received an estimated heart age older than their chronological age, the test served as a wake-up call and encouraged them to reevaluate their lifestyle, as said by the participant 9 in the red bubble. So it just gives you that little bit of kicking up there, a boost to say, actually, yeah, I do need to understand these levels and how I could do better with my own lifestyle. Most participants perceived to have a good understanding of their CVD risk following completion of the HAT and suggested they were already aware of factors that can increase their risk of a heart attack or a stroke prior to taking the test. And that's represented by the blue and red bubble there. So obviously your cholesterol, your blood pressure, it adds to the fact, doesn't it? So if you kept it all below a certain thing, then you have got a far better chance of not having a stroke or a heart attack. A minority of participants suggested to understand the concept of CVD event-free survival age included in HAT, which led to confusion about their results and their level of risk. So that's reflected in the orange bubble. It said that I would die at 76 and my heart age was 35, something around that age. So instead of interpreting CVD event-free survival age as an age at which their risk would increase, they perceived it as an estimated age that they would die. So that was slightly concerning there. And for that reason, this led to intentions to find out more information about their risk to improve their understanding following a negative response to estimated heart age. The third theme, perception of the heart age test. Participants liked the ease of the test, reflected in the blue and the red bubble. I thought it was quite helpful. It was easy to follow and it was quite informative at the end, the information it gave you. But they did question the accuracy due to the level of information required to complete it and whether they were able to provide a blood pressure and cholesterol reading. As reflected in the purple bubble there, but they believe that with those answers, blood pressure and cholesterol, it may have been more precise or a bit more accurate. So participants felt that with that information, that the estimated heart age might have been more personalised to them than using the average if they didn't have that information present. But despite this, the majority of participants would recommend or had already recommended the test to others. So for example, the green bubble, I've said to my colleague, you may want to have a go at that, mate. So it's just suggesting that even though participants had concern about some aspects of the test, they did see some benefit in using it and they would recommend it to others. And despite COVID-19 presenting temporary barriers to lifestyle change, reflected in the red bubble, there are some things in there that I'm planning on doing once the government restrictions are kind of lifted and we can get on with a more normal life. The majority of participants suggested they intended to make changes to their lifestyle or had already made changes following completion of HAT. So for example, I went onto the NHS website and I was thinking about maybe trying to organise a cholesterol and blood pressure test. And for those that had already made changes in their lifestyle prior to taking the HAT, the test was an added source of motivation and encouragement to those changes. So I am fairly active and I do know that I need to lose weight. So it's another encouragement to get my backside in gear and start eating properly again. So it was a motivator for those that were already making changes. So the HAT appeared to encourage participants to evaluate their current lifestyle choices. So to conclude, the evaluation showed that participants had a strong emotional response to their estimated heart age. They understood the meaning of a higher estimated heart age. They reported at least some improvements to understanding of their CVD risk, and they felt more confident in their understanding and control of their risk. Concerns were raised about the accuracy of the test, largely due to the absence of information for most individuals, which was the blood pressure and the cholesterol readings, and the limited information required to complete the test. But despite this, participants would or had recommended the test to others, would be more likely to take up the offer of an NHS health check, and would use the test again to check their heart health. Participants had made or intended to make changes to their lifestyle or were encouraged and motivated by the HAT to maintain their lifestyle changes. Therefore, pre-screening tests such as HAT may be a good way to encourage individuals to evaluate their lifestyle choices and to increase intentions to change their behaviour. However, it is important to point out that the majority of participants had already made some lifestyle changes prior to taking the test, suggesting that they were already invested in improving their heart health. However, a clearer explanation around the reasons why an individual's estimated heart age is older than their chronological age, signposting to supportive concerned, and the concept of CVD event-free survival age should be reconsidered to improve satisfaction and avoid confusion in users. So, in terms of recommendations, campaigns appear to help increase engagement in groups typically underrepresented and take up of preventative heart health checks, including males and younger eligible adults and some ethnic minority groups. And this lasted into the month following the campaign. However, they do not appear to increase completions for those at an increased risk of a heart attack or stroke. Therefore, it may not be a good strategy to mitigate socio-economic inequalities relating to CVD risk. Signposting to support should be more easily accessible or visible for those who are left feeling concerned or confused by their result and interested to understand their CVD risk further. And a link to more information about how the test calculates estimated heart age may be useful for those who wish to find out more about the underpinnings of the calculation. And clear warnings about the accuracy of the result if risk factor information is not available as warranted. So we recommend that the CVD event-free survival age presented in HAT and also shown to you by Jade at the beginning in the video should be removed to avoid user confusion and overestimation of risk. Pre-screening tests such as HAT may be a good way to encourage individuals to evaluate their lifestyle choices and consider changes to improve their health as a precursor to attending a preventative health check. And HAT may also be a good way to encourage individuals who do not regularly see their GP to visit their practice to understand more about their heart health. However, campaigns for HAC may lead to potential increases in primary care demand. Therefore, additional planning may be required around these events. But further work could look to explore the extent to which the beneficial effects of HAC could affect health inequalities, and that's positively or negatively. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Vicky. And I think that was a really rich and useful piece of work that's been conducted. And kind of gives us some real insight into who's using the tool and how it's perceived by people, and what happens afterwards. So in terms of them, their thoughts about their heart age, how the results are interpreted by them. And then what they kind of intend to do afterwards, which are all really useful. And I think for here at PHE, just in terms of the kind of thinking about the kind of conclusions and recommendations and how we kind of move forward and kind of take some of those on board and kind of help to improve and make some improvements to the test kind of going forward. So thank you very much for that. I'm not going to talk too much. I'm going to open up the floor for questions. Andrew, could we unmute people and open up the chat function, please?